Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing so wonderfully. Before I start the tag, I just have to yap a little bit about this. I've been working on this video essay that is very near and dear to my heart. I've had this idea for this essay for many years. It's been so hard to write. Wrote out the script this week and I filmed it. When I sat down to edit, I just knew that it didn't have that spark that I want it to have. Usually I push through that feeling of imperfection, but I really want this to be perfect. So frustrating when you have creation ideas that are above your skill level. A little bit of background about me is that I basically did not have to take any English classes in college because I took AP classes in high school and I tested out of it. So the last time I took an English class was my senior year of high school, 7 years ago, I want to say. It's hard to write analytically when you're not used to it, and it's been so long. So when I saw this tag in my YouTube subscription box, I took a deep sigh of relief because I was like, you know what? I want to just talk about books in a really chill, relaxed way, and I need some more time to work on that essay, really polish it to perfection. Yeah, I'm just gonna do these questions. They are all pretty quick fire. The first question is ebook or physical book, and I've been pretty firmly ebook this year, mostly because, it's just so convenient. I read on my phone a lot. I am terrible about remembering to charge my Kindle, and it doesn't help that my Kindle is not USB-C. It's like an older model. And, with all this like Audible discussion and like divesting from Amazon, I actually have been considering getting a Kobo e-reader just because they have USB-C. Question number 2, paperback or hardback? Paperback. I bought Wind and Truth last year, and it was so heavy to lug around that I ended up just purchasing the ebook as well. So you're welcome, Brandon Sanderson. I bought that book 2 times. Online or in-store book shopping? Lately, I've been really into in-store book shopping, and that's just because I live out in Western Mass, and there are an abundance of beautiful bookstores out here, used and regular, that have an amazing selection that make it super easy for me to shop in-store. I don't buy a lot of books. I have like a very tiny collection of books currently after my move. So for me, I just use the library most of the time. Trilogies or series? I'm currently in the middle of Daniel Abraham's The Dagger and the Coin series. I'm on the penultimate book, which is the 4th book in the series, and it's been so lovely to have the space of 5 books instead of the cramped interior of a trilogy, to explore these characters and plot lines and go on detours that you can't do in a trilogy. Yeah, I'm really into series right now. Heroes or villains? Villains, I think I tend to like characters who are sort of unlikable, like The Magician's trilogy by Lev Grossman. I love how unlikable all those characters are, and I find it a little more interesting to read about people who aren't super goody two-shoes. But at the same time, I love Randall Thor from Wheel of Time, and he is sort of like hero to end all heroes. So I guess my answer to this question is technically both, but in the spirit of not being a fence-sitter, I will say villains. A book I want everyone to read. Right now, I would say Matrix by Lauren Groff is coming to mind. I just read her 2nd book, The Vaster Wilds, which is answer to question number 8, last book I finished. It's historical fantasy about a nun running an abbey, and it's just a really interesting look at an all-women society back in a time where that was kind of a rare thing. Recommend an underrated book. Listen, I don't read a lot of underrated things because I'm just a basic bitch and I read what everyone else is reading. But I guess since most of my audience are fantasy fans, maybe y'all should check out this book, Filter World, How Algorithms Flattened Culture by Kyle Chayka. This is a nonfiction book. He talks a lot about like algorithmic social media and how that is affecting our culture and the spaces, like the physical spaces that we live in. And he explores this concept of air spaces when you walk into a coffee shop in Washington, D.C. versus L.A., and the coffee shop has the exact same sort of industrial subway tile aesthetic. What does that mean about our culture sort of getting flattened into one monoculture? I don't know if I fully agree with everything he talks about in that book, but I do think it's fascinating to have this conversation about how our algorithms and not having that human curation aspect to our social media feeds, how is that affecting us? Really fascinating book. Last book I finished was Vaster Wilds by Lauren Groff. It was just a really good survival classic wilderness story. Instead of being man versus wild, it was woman versus wild, which is not entirely groundbreaking, but I liked it. It was really good. The last book I bought, what was the last book I bought? This copy here of A Rescue in Vizen by my friends, and I just love this cover. It's fantastic. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? I don't use bookmarks. I always just memorize the last page I was on if I'm reading a physical book, but I've used other books as bookmarks, receipts, but that's not weird. Everyone uses receipts. Leaves. I'm also a prolific dog earer. Used books, yes or no? I used to be a yes on used books, but now that my collection of books is so small and I'm really trying to be more intentional about the books I bring into my life, I actually think I'm more of a new book enjoyer. Because it's like, if I'm gonna buy a book, I want to keep that book for the rest of my life at this point. If I find like a really good used copy or like a vintage cover that I really like, yes, but I think for now, I'm anti-used book. Top 3 favorite genres. So I would say fantasy, literary fiction, and I don't know if nonfiction counts as a genre, but I've been really getting into nonfiction. I enjoy reading about the real world. Borrow or buy? I think I'm a big borrower, if this means libraries, because I would rather wait to borrow a book from the library than buy it myself. And it's been a good vetting process for finding new favorites. And then if I love a book and give it 5 stars, then I'll go buy it. Character or plot? I would say character. I think a good character can carry a weak plot, but a good plot can't necessarily carry a weak character. Long or short books? I think long books. I love long books. Long or short chapters? I like a long chapter, actually. Short chapters give me a sense of progression within the series, within the story, but I don't know, I don't really pay attention to chapters, honestly, when I'm reading. Name the first 3 books you think of. Okay, A Rescue in Vizen, Goblin Law, and Jane Eyre. Books that make you laugh or cry. A book that made me cry is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb, and a book that made me laugh recently was The God Is Not Willing by Stephen Erickson. Our world or fictional worlds? If you asked me this when I was 12, I would have said fictional worlds, but I love our world in a weird way. It has my fiance and my family in it and all my friends. I don't think I could leave those behind. Audiobooks, yes or no? Yes, I love audiobooks. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? My favorite author, Robin Hobb, has terrible covers, so no. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations? Neither. I don't like adaptations. I've been burned. Book to TV, if I had to choose. A movie or TV adaptation I preferred more than the book. I really like Normal People. The Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar Jones adaptation was really good. And I think that they did an amazing job of translating certain bits of the inner monologue to the screen, which is incredible. Series or standalones? Series. I used to think that fantasy needed more standalones, and I think that's wrong. Like, I want more series. I want more 5-book series. I want more 10-book series. Like, the beauty of fantasy is in its series, and I don't want to give that up because of marketability and, you know, market forces and money. I love long fantasy series. I'm going to tag Andy Smith to do this and David from Four Corners of the Page. And I'm also going to tag my entire Discord server. Do this tag via text or a voice message or in the comments down below. I would love to hear your take on these questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.